It is time for Stars Community Radio. Yes, I am your host, Izzy Stars LaBeija. I also have my co-host here today. I have Sheila Stars Perez.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, everyone. Say hello, everybody.
Say hello, everybody.
All righty, we have a wonderful, wonderful show for y'all today. We're going to be talking about redevelopment and authority.
The Redevelopment Authority. Very, very interesting.
Right,
cool.
right. So today's show is, don't forget, real quick, you guys can click on the little box on our social media, or you can visit our website and click on the little chat box if you guys have any questions, or if you guys want to participate on the show. Please send us a message and we'll answer your questions, or give us a call at 610-994-4666, extension 111. Also, great big shout out to Stars FM Radio. Sheila, take it away.
Hey. Well, last week we talked a little bit about community and economic development and the role it plays in the revitalization and the economics of our city. And we talked about the tax dollar investments that those programs are funded with. Basically, 30% of our taxes every week goes towards the government, and the government's put together these massive purses with tax investment monies that go into redeveloping cities, especially poor and distressed cities that are identified through the census. Now, a redevelopment authority basically is a public administration unit given responsibility for the renovation of blighted urban areas. Izzy, did you know that?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Now, the interesting thing is the fundamental tools that are used by the Redevelopment Authority include the authority to acquire real property, the power of eminent domain, to develop and sell property without bidding, and the authority and responsibility of relocating persons who have interest in the property acquired by the agency. So basically what that means is the authority can pretty much take over your house, okay?
Wow.
If it's trying to develop a certain area, okay?
Right.
And in the process, they must, however, relocate the people who have interest or ownership in the properties that they're trying to take over in the distressed areas. Now, that's pretty messed up, right?
Oh, that's more than messed up. That is...
It's sheer tyranny, I think.
That's to be ashamed for.
Now, the redevelopment projects, they can be big or small, ranging anywhere from single building or entire new neighborhoods to new town and town projects. And there are state and federal laws or statutes that give cities and counties the authority to establish redevelopment agencies and give the agencies the authority to attack problems of urban decay. Now, where does the financing for most of these projects come from? And then they might come from government grants. They come from borrowing from federal and state governments and selling bonds, and from tax increment financing. So basically, what does that mean? It basically means that the redevelopment authorities are the authorities that utilize their position in order to be able to acquire additional financing to help the revitalization and redevelopment of those cities. Do you have any questions so far?
Oh, wow. I do have some questions, but before I ask my questions, is there anyone out there who has any questions and would like to give us some feedback or kind of participate in this conversation real quick? If you guys want to click on our app, which is located on my Facebook page, and click on the chat box, you can actually give us your questions and we'll answer them, or you can call in live. We'll put you live on the air right now. Don't forget that number is 610-994-4666, extension 111. Actually, how do they get away with this? How does this happen?
Well, I mean, it's pretty interesting because right now what I'm seeing is the authorities are in a process that has been facilitated for them to be able to take over targeted areas like a downtown improvement district. And I have a major problem with that because the downtown improvement district of any city is literally the economic artery or the economic lifeline of that community. Wouldn't you agree?
Correct.
So what would happen if you had one person in charge of the major parcels downtown, those that are running, one person who's actually running the show, one person whose input is catered to in every aspect. Do you think that benefits the community at all, or do you think that benefits only the developer?
It's not rocket science, you know what I mean? It's not benefiting me. Is it benefiting you?
Now, if a developer, under the pretext of revitalization and redevelopment,
Right.
for the alleged benefit of the poor and distressed lower moderate income community. In other words, they are saying we want to develop this land and we want to develop it for the people who live there, the businesses who live there. That's the pretext, okay? Now, they set themselves up then, utilizing the redevelopment authorities to acquire real estate parcels that are worth millions in some cases before the revitalization, right?
Right.
Now, that same developer then proceeds to control and monopolize the majority of all the parcels in the downtown area, right?
Right.
How is that to the benefit of those lower to moderate residents and businesses with the community? How is that to our benefit?
You tell me. How is that?
I mean, I'm still trying to figure that one out.
How does that happen?
Now, please keep in mind that the Downtown Improvement District in the city of Reading and the surrounding areas like Ridgetown houses millions of people. So remember, it houses millions of people. So there's no way that this takeover can possibly be taking place without affecting millions of poor people who live in that area. Now, what happens when the redevelopment authorities then partner with the developers, the county, and the city of those poor communities that they're working to revitalize, and I'm going to put that in quotes, for their own personal gain? And no oversight is taking place to ensure that the true beneficiaries, in other words, the lower to moderate income businesses and residents, are the ones reaping or gaining the positive return on all the monetary tax dollar investments. The results, unfortunately, can be disastrous for those of us that are in the lower to moderate income bracket. Wouldn't you agree?
I totally agree.
And when I say for their own personal gain, it's because it wasn't until I wrote this article that I realized that perhaps the money that is to be gained in terms of community and economic development may not be in the monies that is invested into our communities,
right,
but actually in the parcels that these developers stand to gain. In other words, if these parcels before they're developed, okay, they are worth millions of dollars, right? What happens to those parcels after they are acquired for $1 by the developer and then they get revitalized? It's worth even more money, is it not? So wouldn't
Scandals.
it's scandalous. It's
Scandals. I smell a scandal.
So if we are in the city of Reading, and you have a developer who has purchased properties in the 200 block and is working with organizations that are purchasing properties in the 200 block, right, in the entertainment square, in the 300 block, in the 400 block, in the 6, 7, and 800 block, in the 900 block, and the 1000 block, on Cherry Street, in Goggle Works. Are you starting to get the picture? Is there something wrong? Do you see a takeover taking place and a massive effort being undertaken to remove the housing stock from Center City? Are you in agreement with that?
I think not.
I think not.
Wow.
Now.
It's a little stressing to hear this. A little overwhelming.
Now, there's an organization called the American Planning Association. Now, when I was doing research for this article and these programs, They mentioned the fact that redevelopment is meant to describe one or more public actions that are undertaking to stimulate activity when the private market is not providing sufficient capital and economic activity to achieve the desired level of improvement. Now, here, the key words are public actions taking to stimulate activity when the private market is not providing sufficient capital and economic activity to achieve the desired level of improvement. Now, what happens when the reason a city's economic growth plummets or drastically decreases due to deliberate actions being undertaken by the developers or the redevelopment authorities, including city and county government? When they do this by closing up Penn Street, reducing parking for customers on Penn Street, getting rid of the Vanity Fair outlets. Now you begin to drive down, or the outlets on 9th Street. Now our cities, the city of Reading's purse strings, budgets, all the tax dollars that were being made by all the tourists that were coming into the city of Reading by the busset loads. Right. Now, when they don't come here, that begins to reduce our economics and begins to create blight.
Wow. Beautiful.
It's easier to take over a city that's empty and not doing well than it is for a city to take over a city that's doing well. Am I correct?
That's called taking advantage.
Is that scandalous?
Oh, that's scandalous. That's more scandal than a whole bunch of ballroom kids at a ball. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, real quick. Okay. I have two questions. We're gonna rewind a little bit. Someone had asked, even if you have a lease or you're tied to a contract, can they still take your property away?
Even, you mean as far as if you're speaking as far as the redevelopment authorities?
Correct.
Depending on where you are, and the redevelopment authority is being utilized two ways. They can go in through eminent domain and say we need these properties for a project that's taking place, okay? So, yes, they have the authority. You can fight back through lawsuits to try to see what you can do to protect you, but what they must do if they want to take over that property is provide you equal compensation. So, in other words, whatever the property value is, they have to pay for that. What they have to pay to relocate you, they have to pay for your moving expenses and to facilitate that issue for you. So,
but now remember, just like insurance companies, they're not going to give you your coins worth. They're going to give you the minimum.
Exactly.
So you're still going to get played.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. Real quick, for those who didn't get the phone number, the number is 610-994 4666. Once again, 610-994-4666, extension 111.
Now. Woohoo!
But if you call, I have to cut the live stream. But it's all good. We have the chatting system as well on our speaker app, by the way. So you can chat with us or ask us your questions through Facebook or through the radio show.
Exactly. Now, let me ask you something, Izzy. Let's say that I have 18.3 acres of land, okay? Right. With an estimated value of $11.4 million, okay? Now, let's say that the assessed value on that property, in other words, the money that I pay taxes on, the value that I pay taxes on, is a little over $9 million, okay? Now, let's say you found out that I sold that property, 18.3 acres of land, with an $11.4 million value retail and an assessed value of a little over $9 million. Wow. To a developer for profit for $200,000. Do you think that I received a fair price for that land?
No. Chop.
Would you have sold me that land for $200,000? would you have sold me that land?
No.
Not even me? Little old me? Now, do you believe that we as stakeholders of those real estate assets managed by the redevelopment authorities could have received better proceeds from those sales when we auctioned them off? I think that we probably would have done better auctioning that off. Would you agree, Izzy?
I think so, but there's a lot of different. It depends on the situation, who's involved, because people in America nowadays, especially business-orientated people, they find a way to take advantage of every aspect, every part wherever there's money involved or power.
I agree.
So it would depend, I would say it would be better off to auction it off, yes.
Okay, at least we would have gotten more than $200,000,
Oh, of
right?
course we would have gotten more than $200,000, yes, if the correct people were teaming up together to do this procedure.
Right, and then do you think that if that developer that received that land for $200,000 should also receive community and economic development funds for the project that they're getting?
I find something a little tacky-ish about that.
Right, because,
What do you...
you're getting millions of dollars worth of land value. You're getting tax incentives, and you also want money to help you with your project as well. And what are we getting in return?
Right.
A positive tax return, 40 to 50 years from now? How does that work on our favor today?
When you're not going to be able to use it because you'll be too elder.
If you're alive at all. Okay.
Yeah, by the way, the average person, or human here nowadays, it's maybe like, 80%, 85% only live to about 50, 60 years. No shade. It's a lot of cancer and a lot of things going on. A lot of illegal products, a lot of illegal substances that are in our foods and are passing, laws and just getting into the hands and the bodies and the souls of us people of the world. I don't know.
Now, another thing I'd like to throw in the mix. Let me ask you something. What do you think if the executive director of a redevelopment authority, now listen to what I'm saying, the executive director, the guy who runs the show, right,
listening,
is receiving a gift from a developer on a yearly basis of approximately, $60,000 to $80,000. Do you think that is ethical?
I'm sorry. I'm still stuck on the gift part. What do you mean, like a gift? Like a
gift,
gift?
Every year, this developer gifts.
You mean like my second last name, Gift?
No, a gift.
Okay.
$60,000 to $80,000.
If that's what you call a gift. I wish someone would give me a gift like that. Does anybody out there have gotten a gift like that? If you do, call us up, 610-994-4666, extension 111. We would love to hear all about it.
And we would love to be part of that friend circle.
Oh, somebody just commented, one of my friends, gift means no taxes.
Now.
Yeah. Only in Reading.
Now, let me ask you something, Izzy.
Right.
You know what a budget is, right?
When I was a teenager, I refused to understand what a budget was. But yes, now that I'm grown, I know what a budget is.
And what is a budget, Izzy? Can you explain to the audience what a budget is?
A budget is a certain amount of money that's dedicated for a certain cause or something that you put for, anything that you want to do, like an achievement, something that you want or you need to do.
And budgets usually cover, they're there to what? To ensure that you can cover all your
expenses and, have backup nets and safety nets and precautions and, just be okay. Be good.
And no internets, right?
No, at all. No.
But anyways, now, so what you're saying is the budget is very important, correct?
extremely important.
Okay, now remember I talked about how important is the budget in terms of acquiring loans or grants? How important do you think a budget is if you were to be seeking a loan or a grant?
How long?
How important
How
is
important?
a budget? Like if you were to go to a bank, I mean, what's the first thing that a bank's going to ask you for if you're applying for a loan or a budget? I mean, a loan or a grant.
They're going to ask you for proof of income that you're not getting because you need this loan.
So basically, you're saying that budgets would have to play into that program, right?
If that's what you call it, a program.
And what you're saying is W-2 forms. Would you have to show W-2 forms if you're applying for a
I'd
loan
have to
or a
give up
grant?
my fingerprints, DNA testing, Social Security, address, kids, schooling, parents, birth certificates, everything.
And
I
your
surrender
soul.
all my rights.
And your soul, right?
Well, they can't take that, but they can borrow that. They can use it to torment you, but they can't take that. You take that with you at the end. That's the one thing God does promise you.
So what you're saying is, so if you don't have a budget and you don't have these financial reports, basically you could say that you can't apply for a loan or a grant, correct?
Right, correct.
Okay, so please explain to me how it's possible that the Reading Redevelopment Authority has been running the show since 2008 without a budget.
Sure, no problem. What did you say? Wait, you caught me with that one. I was going to answer that until I heard. No, I'm just kidding. Wow. Isn't that scandalous, ladies and gentlemen? By the way, I'm going to be taking some phone calls in a minute. I'll call you back. We're going to be taking some phone calls at the end, and we're going to get down to the nitty-gritty. So just be patient and be right back. Go ahead.
So what would you, so if we just said that the state financing, and the funding for the projects that are run by the Redevelopment Authority, okay, is coming from federal or state governments and from government grants and from selling bonds, how is it possible that if a major requirement for us to be able to obtain grants, loans, or financing weighs on our budgets and our W-2s, how is it possible that the Redevelopment Authority is being approved for grants and loans without presenting a budget? I'm still waiting for that budget, by the way. I'm still waiting for the budget. I wanted to know, where are all the expenses? Where are all the monies coming from?
Well, like my grandma used to say, honey, don't hold your breath. It might not come. Like UPS.
Now.
Or FedEx.
There is more to learn, but we'll leave that for another segment at this time.
That's
We're gonna close up this segment on the Redevelopment Authority. We'd love for you to jump online and check out our blog and, type in questions. Our article is more involved. The article that we placed on our blog, and then I'd like to take this time out to do our Eric segment. Woohoo!
Real quick, we're going to take some calls real quick. Just, to settle the score real quick. All right, our first caller.
Hello?
Hey, welcome to Stars Community Radio. How are you?
Oh, hello. How are you?
Good. You're live on the air. Give us your question.
Oh, my God. I don't even know how to start. My name's Sinestra Infinity, the Queen of Destruction.
I know that's right, boo. Yes.
All right.
Yes, darling.
Well, I had a question what you were talking about before. I was talking about, the lease. I signed, a year lease, and they want to cut it off, on the 6th month, because somebody had already, bought the property,
It's my understanding, and that you would have to double check with the attorneys on that, but it's my understanding that the owner of the property must abide by that lease till it's over.
Yeah, well, the thing is that the new company is telling me that they're not going to take over the old lease.
Like I said, I mean, you're more than welcome to. I don't know if you live in Berks County, but we do have.
Where's that?
We're in Reading, Pennsylvania. Are you calling from Reading, Pennsylvania?
No, I'm calling from the Iroquois Project in Kentucky.
Okay, yeah, I would go to a legal referral, some kind of an attorney out there. Like, I don't know what the laws are out there where you're from, but I would definitely just double check with an attorney, because in the state of Pennsylvania, it's my understanding, based on the attorneys that we work with and under the supervision of, that if an apartment building is in a lease, or a house is in a lease, when the building or the property is purchased, they must abide by that lease till the end of the lease, unless they want to buy
when I got my
out.
lease, I also got like renter's insurance. Do you think that would help me in my case?
Your renter's insurance is only for any damages that would occur as a result of a
Yeah,
fire.
well, the damage that's happening is emotional and physical right now with me.
Unfortunately, I totally understand where you're coming from, but like I said, you're going to have to get together with an attorney over there.
I used to eat salmon at least twice a week, and now I turn to ramen noodles. It's horrible, chicken flavor.
A lot of us are doing that, I'll tell you. Trust me, I'm probably right there on your feet as you speak.
Okay, well, so I'm just gonna go about and I'm gonna see the laws and legislations, from here. But yeah, thank you very much. You guys look amazing today.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you for calling.
And thank you for
Okay,
calling.
love you guys.
Love you
Have
more.
a beautiful day.
You
too,
too.
guys.
Okay.
All right. Well, let's go back into the second half of our show.
The second half is our Air It segment. Woohoo! This week we're going to air it. And this week we want to talk about the forensic audit scandal involving the Reading Area Water Authority.
Word.
Woohoo!
This is going to be quite interesting. Let's air it.
Okay. Now, a recent forensic audit of the Reading Area Water Authority prompted our mayor, Wally Scott, to make the following comment. Theft. Criminal. What they did, that's not an accident. It says that, according to the article entitled "Audit of Raw Wash Shows Former Executive Director Overbilled by $300,000," it was written by Amanda Van Allen. The article goes on to state that the mayor was talking about Dean Miller and his company, Miller Environmental. That was the company contracted for management and meter reading services for the Reading Area Water Authority from the year 2000 to 2016. Now, think about it. Mr. Dean Miller was making $182,000 a year in the city of Reading as executive director of the Reading Area Water Authority, which I always found that to be too high, considering we live in good old, small, little, tiny little Reading, okay? Now, in addition to that, Baker Tilly, and Baker Tilly was the audit company, the company who did the forensic audit. They did the thumbnail audit back at the beginning of last year, as our mayor had promised, and it was there that they discovered the following. 41%, Izzy, 41% of the contracts that are awarded by the Reading Area Water Authority were awarded to companies that were owned by the executive director and the solicitor or the attorney, Mike Setley. Do you believe that?
I cannot. I definitely cannot believe that. Wow. That is...
It's crazy. It's
something.
crazy. So Miller Environmental got the contract to read our meters, and they were getting $45,000 a month, approximately, allegedly, up to $650,000 a year on that contract, on that one contract. Remember, this is the same gentleman who was receiving $182,000 a year as a salary, and his company, located on South 17.5 Street or South 17th Street, was receiving $45,000 a month in addition, a $650,000 contract a year. That doesn't include the other contract that they had to service the landfill. Did you know that? or the wastewater treatment facility. I'm sorry. So, and then, in addition to that, Mr. Setley, or Attorney Setley, also formed a bonding company. And that bonding company was the company that was utilized by the Reading Area Water Authority whenever they needed to purchase bonds. Is that crazy or what?
Smells like a setup to me.
Now, besides that scandal, okay, all right, now, additionally, WARA identified the following 3 customers, this audit, that were either underbilled or not receiving water bills at all. Do you believe that, Izzy?
Yes, I do believe that.
Now, Evergreen Community Power Plant, Hydrojet, Inc., and Our City Reading, Panavino, WFMZ TV News. Now, the Evergreen Community Plant, that plant provides heating and electric services to the affiliated United Core Stack LLC paper mill, both of which are located on the 41-acre site in Reading. Now, RAWA determined that the water meter for Evergreen had been misread by Miller Environmental since RAWA began providing the customer with water in April 2009. Okay? It resulted in billing Evergreen only 10% of Evergreen's actual water usage. And then, in addition, the sewer portion of the bill was similarly understated due to improper meter reading. So, based on the records that were analyzed from a period of April 2009 to March of 2017, the table revealed that Evergreen was undercharged by $4.52 million, Izzy, in water usage. Do you believe that?
I cannot. This is horrendous.
$4.52 million. In addition to that, Hydrojet and Our City Reading, Panavino, WFMZ TV News, their records showed that, first of all, Hydrojet was built in 2009. It's located on the old Buttonwood Gateway facility, okay? They were built, according to my analysis, Panavino's WFMZ, Our City Reading, was undercharged. They undercharged Hydrojet and Panavino's by $246,388 and $99,446,000. The interesting part is that the Panavino's and the WFMZ over at Albert R. Boscoff Plaza, they didn't have any meters separating the different businesses, so they couldn't figure out who used what amount of water. So I question whether even that was in accordance to the way codes is expected for a business to operate. I always thought that businesses had to be on separate meter readings. Yes or no, Izzy?
Wow. Yes.
I don't know. I'm not certain, but it's definitely.
I definitely smell more scandals. I mean, how do these people get away with this?
Listen, I had been mentioning about Mr. Miller being the owner of Miller Environmental, having that service the meters, and now recently it's been alleged that Setley is part owner of Accounts Recovery Bureau. That's the third-party company that the Water Authority uses to collect on bills. And also, it makes you wonder, how it is possible that for all these years, no one's ever even questioned it. So how can you go through life and not wonder and think, is this a conflict of interest or is this ethical? Were there any bids on the contracts? If the bids were offered, because all of those contracts awarded by the Reading Area Water Authority are required to go into a bidding process if they're over a certain amount of dollars. So where was the bid, and how is it possible that the executive director's company, who, by the way, has determined knowledge on the bid, should it be fair for them to participate whenever they're asking for a bid to be done? Because he has knowledge of the criteria of the project before it's bidded out. So how fair is that to the people that have no knowledge?
Right. Wow.
So that's pretty much our air for this week. What do you think of that, Izzy?
It's very overwhelming and very hard to listen to and very disturbing to understand.
Yet we want to go ahead and charge for a connection fee underneath our infrastructures to make up for all of these corruptions and robberies that are taking place, and then trying to make up the difference on the backs of the poor people who have truly sustained our community, while these developers are getting away with murder in terms of financial support on behalf of these developers.
It's okay. Happens.
I had a brain fart there. Can you imagine what the city would be like if we were able to cut down our losses in terms of that and made people pay for their just dues? And sell our properties at a 50% loss as opposed to a 98% loss, as we've been doing. Can you imagine how well, if we allowed businesses to be able to be effectively positioned economically to be able to improve the employment rate in the city? Can you imagine how well we would be doing?
We were doing great. Amazing. We'd be economically wealthy.
Our city is a wealthy city. Our city is very wealthy. Why our city isn't wealthy, it hasn't been allowed to prosper the way that it should.
It's been barricaded and blocked
on
purpose.
Locked
on purpose for their personal gains.
Whew, couldn't have said it better myself, Izzy.
Well, we're to the end of the show. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in and supporting our show. Once again, I want to thank my co-host here, Sheila Perez Stars, for doing such a marvelous and wonderful job. And we'll be back next Tuesday, starting at 11 a.m. on a regular weekly schedule. So don't forget, if you have any questions, please contact us. Our website is houseofstars.com, or you can simply check us out on Spreaker, SPREAKER.com. Search houseofstars.com or Stars Community Radio. Don't forget, I'm your host, Izzy Stars LaBeija, and we'll be tuning out. See you guys next week.
So good, so glad I got you. So good, live without you. So good, so good. I love your smile. So good. You make it worth my while.